Yeah, my name's Dr. Bruce Baird. I'm a dentist in Granbury, Texas. Been here for 33 years and got introduced to the infinite banking concept actually by one of my students. I do a lot of teaching and I do a lot of educating, and so I'm doing a program, and one of my students, who's become a great friend of mine, brought this book up to me and handed it to me and said, "Bruce, would you do me a favor? Just read this book." And I was like, "Sure, I'll read it." And I pitched it in the trunk of my car, and about 3 months later, he called and said, have you read the book yet? And I was like, yeah, I haven't yet. I was about to. And so I went out and dug it out, for him. He kind of put a little stick in me. And so I started reading it, and I was actually amazed by what I was reading. And the entire concept was different than what I had ever really been introduced to. I had done what I was told to do. I went down the road of set up my 401k, set up my retirement plans, and I was funding it, and I did, maximum funding, and I did this for 15 years. And then the economy hit, and the early 2000, and then 2008 hit. And, most of my friends were devastated with their retirement plans and everything else, and it seemed like all the information that I was getting is just put it back in the market, it's going to grow, let time do its work. And I had let time do its work. I'd been doing it religiously, and now I was in my early 50s, mid 50s, and I'm thinking to myself, oh no, what am I going to do? And I read this book, and the concepts in it were very unique and very different than what I'd ever heard before. Insurance to me was something that you bought if you had to have it. Whole life was, I'd had a whole life policy, but it wasn't something that I really had ever looked into. I began listening and learning more about the infinite banking concept, and it made such sense to me. I was so excited because it was something that I could grow my money without having it put at such risk, so at that point I really began to think, wow, this is really neat, and this is where I'm going to start to put my money. And so that's what we did. We started several policies or several banks, and I was able to borrow money from those, which I have used this money and I'm paying it back. And it was the first time I'd ever really started doing things away from my retirement plan and away from the other things I was doing. And I found myself, with extra cash that I was making, I was trying to put it into this process to grow revenue and to grow my own bank. And I really love being on that side of the investment, that investment vehicle of loaning myself money, paying it back, and really getting out of the cycle of debt that I'd been in before, and really the cycle of putting money in where it was like gambling. And this really isn't, and it really has made a huge difference in the way I look at the future and the way I look at my long-term goals. And so I'm super excited about the future and working within the infinite banking concept. I'm using the cash. I'm actually started another business because I do these different things. I'm working with dentists in another area, but I'm using the money I'm funding my plans to actually start another business and grow that other business. And while paying back, that I'm seeing, first of all, I'm seeing the growth in my money and the fact that I'm using my own money. So it really has been kind of an epiphany for me to be able to see that, I could use my own money funding business and yet still have growth in my portfolio and have a sideline, which is the insurance benefit of it also, which I like that too. Every dollar I'm putting in now is going straight to cash, which I can use. And I love that. It's so much different. Every dollar I put in my portfolio on the stock market, I don't know what it's going to. And so I got tired of investing in Honduran straw hats or whatever it was I was putting my money in, where I had no clue what I was going to get back. And now I really feel like I know where my money's going, I'm able to utilize it, and with discipline paying it back, it's just, to me, it's a perfect plan. It's tax-free. I get to borrow it tax-free, I pay it back, and I love it. And, we're going to probably start up another new bank here pretty soon. And so, I probably won't have 30 or 40 banks or 50 like Nelson, but I wouldn't mind having 10 or 12 of these banks that are going to work for me and have my kids have them. They understand the concept, have their kids have it. I just think it's an overall concept that I can teach my family and teach others around me. And it was so hard to watch my 401k grow to $1 million and not be able to use the cash in there and have the government say, oh, don't worry, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you get to be 59 and a half. Well, that's total baloney. I'm not going to be in a lower tax bracket. I'm going to be in the highest tax bracket, and if I look at what the economy is doing now and what we're doing nowadays, borrowing money like crazy, the bracket could be double what I'm paying now. Once I realized, that this was a great option, then I've started talking to dentists about it. And we've had a lot of interest across the country with dentists that we work with. If I'm talking to a young dentist, which I do, I tell them, look at this concept. Look at the potential that you have here. They've been told that insurance is bad, stock market's good, but now there's been a lot of roughness in the stock market. And so I think they're more open to hearing what are some other options. And the thought that I'm going to shelter income to a better time. Well, I'm not so sure that they believe it's going to be a better time in 25 years. We don't know. But this kind of shelters them. It also gives them a plan that they can utilize their cash at any time they need to. It just gives them a lot more flexibility. If they're 53, 54, 55, or 50 or older, and they've funded their plans and everything else, keep your plan, just let it do its natural progression. I didn't do that. I pulled out quite a bit of mine. And why? Because I wanted to put it to work. But I tell them, this is the time to start setting up banks, setting up your banking. And they're making more money now. These guys are making enough cash to really make a huge difference. Now, true, their insurance costs are higher, but there's other things that they can do. There's key employees, we're not putting it into insurance as much. I mean, we're putting it in the minimum amount of insurance and the maximum amount of cash that we can possibly do. So once they get it too. And it's like, again, an epiphany. They go, wow, why haven't I been doing this? I go, gosh, I don't know why wasn't I? Because I just hadn't heard about it. I'm just excited about it. I'm just excited about infinite banking. I'm excited about the concept itself and that it's starting to become more, I start to hear it more from people. Yes, I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that. And that's good because I think the more people that can hear it, it'll change their life. And so that's probably most exciting for me.